Welcome to a world of feathers and fascination, where we explore the beauty, behavior, and breeding of birds. This is your aviculture deep dive.
It's a really interesting idea, isn't it, that you can't just make birds breed.
Yeah,
We train animals, we manage their environments, but this seems different. Whether you're deep into aviculture or just fascinated by nature, it's a complex thing.
it really is. And that's what we're diving into today. What does it actually take for birds to reproduce under human care?
Right.
We're drawing heavily on insights from Kateri J. Davis, an aviculturist at Davis Lund Aviaries. She works a lot with softbills, which are known for being, well, a bit tricky.
Ah, softbills. Yes, they have a reputation. So we'll be looking at the essentials, things like getting the sexes right, health, diet.
Exactly. Diet, space, privacy, huge factors.
Yeah.
Nesting sites, materials, even environmental signals like light and water.
And stress. Can't forget stress.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Minimizing stress is critical. Our goal here is to give you, the listener, a really solid grasp of all the factors involved.
Focusing on those softbill nuances, but with lessons for all kinds of birds. Yeah.
Precisely. It's about understanding the whole picture.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The core idea from our source, Kateri Davis, is that you can't force breeding. It all hinges on contentment. That sounds almost, well, psychological.
It kind of is, especially compared to mammals. With birds, it seems less about just hormones firing and more about their overall state of being.
So they need to feel genuinely good, secure.
Exactly. They need to feel safe, healthy, and, well, content. If those conditions aren't met, the breeding instinct just doesn't seem to kick in, no matter what else you provide.
That's a fundamental shift in thinking, isn't it? Away from just mechanics to well-being.
It is, and it means the challenge for aviculturists is twofold. First, you have to understand what a particular species truly needs, all its needs.
Mhm.
And second, you have to figure out how to provide those things in a way that actually works for the birds in your care. It's about creating that environment where they choose to breed.
Which I imagine makes it incredibly rewarding when they finally do. Seeing those chicks hatch must be amazing after all that effort.
Oh, absolutely. It's deeply fulfilling. So, okay, let's break down those essential needs. First up, you need a pair. Sounds simple, but
It's not always obvious who's male and who's female, right? Kateri mentions this specifically.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of birds are sexually monomorphic. Fancy term, but it just means males and females look identical.
Like pigeons or some parrots.
Exactly. So you can't just look at them and know. You often need DNA testing, maybe blood tests, sometimes even minor surgery to be certain.
Wow, you could waste a lot of time hoping for eggs from two males.
Happens all the time. So accurate sexing is step one. Then, assuming you have a true pair, their health is absolutely non-negotiable.
Not just not sick, but really robustly healthy.
Precisely. Free from any infections, parasites, even things that aren't causing obvious symptoms.
Ah, so a bird could look okay, but a minor underlying issue could stop it breeding.
Definitely. Any kind of underlying stress or health problem can just shut down that reproductive drive.
Yeah.
They need to be behaving normally, eating well, seem mentally and physically happy.
Happy birds breed. I like that.
It really holds true. If they're stressed or unwell, breeding is the last thing on their minds.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, so we have a confirmed pair, they're healthy. What about food? How critical is diet in triggering breeding?
Oh, diet is absolutely crucial. And it's not just about chucking seed in a bowl.
Right?
Our source, Kateri, points out wild bird diets aren't static. They change with the seasons, with food availability. We often need to mimic those changes.
So like signaling abundance or specific nutrients.
Both, really. Sometimes a shift in diet, maybe more protein or specific fats, acts as a trigger. And for many softbills, live food becomes essential.
Ah, insects and things.
Yes, especially when they're raising young. That Euhina example and the source needing lots of waxworms is typical. They need that high-protein live food to successfully fledge chicks.
Got it. So pair.check, health.check, diet.check. Now, the environment they live in, space and privacy seem huge.
They are absolutely vital. Enclosures that are too small or too exposed are common problems.
Why is space so important? Territory.
Exactly. Birds need to feel they have enough territory to safely raise vulnerable young. Think about it. Nesting takes a lot of energy, exposes them. They won't do it if they feel cramped or threatened.
And other birds in the same space can be an issue too.
Oh, definitely. Other cage mates can mean competition, stress, or just general disruption. They might interfere with courtship or nesting.
So ideally one pair per enclosure. Or can you manage it in a mixed group?
You can manage it. The source mentions using dense planting, like with the African black crakes example. Plants can create visual barriers, little private zones within a larger aviary.
Like giving them their own little neighborhood. Okay, so they feel safe in their space. Then comes the actual nest. Are they picky about where they build?
Extremely picky, often. Some like an open box, some want a woven basket, others a flat platform. Some build on the ground, others way up high in a corner.
So you can't just give them one standard nest box and expect it to work for everyone.
Not at all. The advice is always to offer several different types of sites and let the pair choose what feels right for them.
And the materials matter too, right? Not just the structure.
Absolutely. What you offer them to build with is important, and even how you offer it. Cut grass on the floor might be ignored, but the same grass draped over a branch might be perfect.
Huh. It's all about understanding their natural instincts. Like that picture of the red crest finch chicks that nest looks pretty specific.
Exactly. They build what feels right based on their species blueprint.
Okay, so we're building this whole supportive world for them. But then there are these subtle environmental cues too. Things that tell them, now is the time.
Yes, definitely. Nature has its signals.
Yeah.
A big one is photo period, the length of the day.
Right, longer days and spring signaling breeding season.
Exactly. That change in light triggers hormonal shifts, but also things like water availability, rain, humidity.
So misting the aviary or having a small fountain isn't just for looks.
Not at all. For some species, simulating rainfall or having moving water can be a powerful breeding trigger. It mimics the conditions when food is likely abundant, like those montane white-eyes baiting on wet leaves. That moisture is part of their signal.
Ultraviolet light is mentioned too. That's important.
It is, for their overall health and potentially for recognizing mates or breeding readiness in some species. Temperature shifts can also play a role. It's a whole complex set of cues.
It really is complex. And underpinning all of this seems to be minimizing stress. We keep coming back to that.
It's probably the single biggest inhibitor if it's not managed. Kateri stresses that most birds just will not nest successfully if there's too much disturbance.
Human disturbance. Or other animals.
Both. Too much activity around the enclosure, constantly checking the nest, even other birds in a mixed flight harassing the pair. They need peace and quiet. Privacy.
It must be tempting to keep checking on the eggs or chicks, though.
Incredibly tempting. But it's often counterproductive. Over-monitoring can lead to the parents abandoning the nest, or even tossing or eating the eggs or chicks out of stress.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a protective instinct gone wrong, essentially. You have to trust the process sometimes and accept that some losses happen, even in nature. Paired birds often learn and get better with experience.
So patience is key for the aviculturist.
Huge amounts of patience. But the good news is, if you get the basics right, the health, diet, environment, privacy, and you leave them alone.
They'll likely try again, like that silver-beaked tanager on its nest.
Exactly. If the conditions are right, their instincts are strong, they'll usually give it another go.
This sounds like, well, like a real art as much as a science, and it highlights how important sharing information must be in the aviculture world.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Especially with softbills, which can be less commonly bred than, say, parrots or finches. People need to talk, share what worked, what didn't.
And compare notes between captive situations and what the birds do in the wild.
Yes, reading about their natural history, understanding their wild habitat that provides so many clues for how to care for them and breed them successfully in captivity. Sharing successes and failures is how the whole field moves forward.
And there's a real need for that knowledge now, isn't there? With fewer birds being imported.
That's a major point Kateri makes. Import restrictions mean we have to get better at breeding these species sustainably in captivity if we want to keep them in aviculture. Every successful hatching becomes more significant.
So the pressure is on aviculturists to maintain these populations.
In many ways, yes. The responsibility is growing. It's interesting, too, that while separate pairs are sometimes needed, the source notes many softbills actually breed well in mixed species aviaries, if managed correctly.
So they can coexist if their core needs are met.
Right. Though finding unrelated pairs can be harder for softbills just because fewer people keep them compared to parrots. Building that network of softbill keepers is really important.
Sounds like a great area for someone who enjoys a challenge.
Definitely. If you like problem solving and careful observation, softbills are incredibly rewarding.
Now, sometimes, despite best efforts, things go wrong. Parent birds might abandon chicks. Hand rearing comes into play then.
It does sometimes become necessary, yes. Ideally, parents raise their own young. That's always the goal.
But artificial incubation and hand rearing is an option, like with that red vent bulbul chick image.
It is. And importantly, Kateri notes that being hand-reared doesn't automatically mean a bird can't breed later. Imprinted birds can often still become successful parents themselves.
But it's not the first resort. You'd want to figure out why the parents failed first.
Absolutely. Hand-rearing is a tool, sometimes essential, but you always want to investigate the root cause. Was there too much stress? A nutritional issue? A problem with the nest site? You need to fix the underlying problem.
Right. So wrapping this all up, the picture that emerges is, well, intricate. Breeding birds successfully, especially these sensitive softbills, isn't automatic.
Not at all. It's about deeply understanding their needs, the right pairing, robust health, the right food, space, nesting, minimal stress.
And then meticulously providing those things, letting their natural instincts work rather than trying to force it.
Exactly. It's about orchestrating the right conditions and then stepping back and appreciating how all those different factors connect.
When you see it laid out like this, all the things that have to be just right for birds to breed in captivity, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What does this level of complexity tell us about what it takes to support animal populations, out there in the wild with all the pressures they face?
That's a powerful thought. It highlights the fragility, perhaps, but also the incredible resilience of life when conditions are met. And it certainly underscores the dedication and deep knowledge involved in responsible aviculture, and how that knowledge might even help broader conservation efforts.
Definitely food for thought, the hidden complexities of ensuring the next generation.